Shalom.
Shalom, Rabbi
Hey.
Elias.
Shavua tov.
Shalom, Rabbi.
Shalom. Hi, I hear your voice, Ellen.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm very good. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
How are you feeling?
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
good. Let me make.
Shalom, everybody.
Oh,
Hey.
How you doing, Reba?
Oh, good.
Okay, good. Did your family come back yet?
In September, just a few
Oh, okay.
weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, they decided to extend it, which I guess is good because Levita's on maternity leave. So this is probably going to be like the only time they get away
Of
for a while.
course. Sure.
And of
Absolutely.
course, family has to see Aurelia, for the first
Sure.
time.
Absolutely. That's great that they could do it.
Yeah, but
Hi,
I'll
Fran.
be glad.
Oh, good. Hi, Fran.
Hi,
How are you today?
fine. How are you?
I'm okay. Thank you.
Good. Hi,
hi,
guys.
Granny. Hi. How are you?
Sweetheart.
Mm. Forgive me as I chug my green tea. This is what I do when I'm hot. I have this iced green tea that is just delicious, and it keeps me, centered and cool.
Hi.
I'm going to see you in a couple weeks, Granny. I'm going to come
I
visit.
know.
Both of us are going to go visit my nephew and your great
My
grandson.
great grandson.
Yes,
Boy.
it's very special. We're going for his first birthday. So I don't know if you're watching, Calvin, but we're talking about you. So shout out to my nephew, Calvin. Oh, and hi, Rabbi Sherry Joy Berman. Hi. Thank you for making it this morning.
Hi, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Rabbi Sherry emailed me and said, she had a lot of thoughts. She was really stimulated by our conversation about the Shema and Gematria. And do we want to continue talking about it? And I said, absolutely, we do. So I had something from Jonathan Sachs lined up in case you couldn't make it this morning. So I'm happy you're here.
Okay.
And maybe we'll do both if you want, if it leads one into the other.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Do we have enough time for me to share a couple of lines of Torah?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I didn't set up a whole Torah service, but if you want to just do it real quick.
If you let me, if you allow me to be co-host, there's just a little part I want to talk about in the Parsha as well. So, okay.
Make co-host done.
Thank you.
Sharon Jaffe here. And okay. Welcome, Sharon. I think, are we all ready to start? Let's get this Maariv on its way. Okay. Let's see. Welcome, everybody, to the 21st of Av as we celebrate the turning of the earth from one side to the other, from day to darkness. Zipporah's here. Yes, admit. And it's the Maariv service time. I'm Rabbi Elias Wang. This is Sim Shalom Online Synagogue. We are joined by Rabbi Sherry Joy Berman, all the way from Japan. And we will start with a little bit of Hinei Matov. Please sing along with me if you like. Hinei Matov Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hinei Matov Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hinei Matov Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hinei Matov Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Behold how good and pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to dwell together. Or as the Rav Nachman of Breslev put it, let the good in me connect with the good in others until all the world is transformed through the compelling power of love. We have reached the Baruch Hu. Who's feeling especially audacious tonight? Who wants to let everyone know you're here? Let me see. Ellen Rose, you look like in an I'm here kind of mood. You want to say the Baruch Hu first?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, please go ahead.
Thank you. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamavorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Ata Hamavorach Leolam Vaed.
Thank you, Ellen. Bless the Eternal, blesses the Holy One, the unity, the presence of the blessings forever. How is Tinoki doing, by the way? How's the kitty?
She's back to being the princess. She's the boss. Thank you. Baruch
Good to
Hashem.
hear.
Yes.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, whose word creates the mysterious time of dusk. Hi, Ziona. Nice to see you. How are you doing? How's your husband?
He's doing a little better today. My stomach is roiling with stress, but I'm here.
You're here. Would you like to read the rest of this English for us?
Sure.
Thank
Can I
you.
start from the beginning?
Please
Because I don't know where you left off.
Please, the beginning.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, whose word creates the mysterious time of dusk, filling the world with possibilities. In wisdom, you open heaven's gates, and with understanding, you change times and vary seasons, and arrange the stars in the heavens according to your will. Creator of day and night, and the trembling in between time, who spreads out light before darkness and darkness before light, who creates day and bring forth night, who separates day from night, who arrays the whole earth with glory. Holy is your name. Blessed are you for the creations that happen every day. Baruch atah Adonai Maariv Aravim.
We can repeat in English at the end of this page after Ziona's words, blessed are you who creates the evening. And if you'd like to say it in Hebrew, say it with me. Baruch
Atah Adonai
Maariv
Aravim. Amen.
Thank you, Ziona, for that reading. Everlasting love and universal love, the Ahavat Olam. Please sing along if you like. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha Ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu Memareta, Al Ken Adonai Eloheinu, Shochbenu u'chukmenu, Yach b'chukecha, Yismach b'divrei Tortecha, La'am va'ed. Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu, uvehem negei yomam v'layla, Ahavatecha al t'snirenu le'olamim. Ellen Rose, would you read the English for us on the right?
Yes. Your love has embraced us always in wilderness and promised land, in good times and in bad. Night and day, your Torah sustains us, reviving the spirit, delighting the heart, informing the soul, opening the eyes, granting us a glimpse of eternity. Because of your love, we shall embrace Torah night and day in devotion and delight. Beloved are you, Adonai, whose Torah reflects your love.
Amen. Thank you, Ellen.
Well, thank you.
Would you please all, if you like, read responsively with me, on mute or unmuted, with the words on the right as I read the words on the left. In the stories of our past,
You are
revealed.
In the laws you gave at Mount Sinai,
You are revealed.
In the questions that we ask and the answers that we might find,
You are
You are revealed.
in the light that burns off fog and in the darkness that swallows grief,
You are revealed.
in my questing, doubts and fear, and in the joy of dreams come true,
You are revealed.
in all the blessings that surround us, those seen and unseen.
You are revealed.
Blessed are you for opening our senses to all your revelations. You live in the glow of the heart. You live in the pain and the joy of life. You live in when we choose life and blessing. You live in the still, small voice of conscience. You live in our unending search for truth. You live in our breath when we unite and call you one. Together we say in Hebrew at the bottom of the page, Baruch
Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Hamu Yisrael.
Blessed are you, Adonai, who loves your people, Israel. Shema, the reason we're whole here tonight. Rabbi Sherry, would you grace us by leading us with the Shema this evening?
Yes. And I'm going to do it kind of conservative style because I'm wearing a talit. So you gather the four corners and then you cover your eyes. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובחומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem Emet.
Thank you, Rabbi Sherry. That was beautiful. Do we have a volunteer to read the translation, the English translation we have here of the Via Hafta? Let me see.
I can read it.
I'd love that. Thank you, Reba.
Okay. Let me see. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. And these words which I command you this day, you shall take to heart. Teach them diligently to your children, and recite them at home and away, night and day. Bind them as a sign upon your hand, and as a reminder above your eyes. Inscribe them upon the doorposts of your homes and upon your gates. Then you will remember and observe all my mitzvot and be holy before your God. I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God, who is truth.
Thank
Adonai Elohechem Emet.
And we can repeat after Reba the Hebrew at the bottom of the page. Adonai Elohechem Emet. Thank you. Thank you to the readers. We continue with the Micha Mocha. Micha Mocha Ba'elim Adonai. Micha Mocha Neder Ba'kodesh. Nora Tehilot Osef ele, Nora Tehilot Osef ele. Who is like you, O God, among the gods that are worshipped? Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in splendor, working wonders? Your children witnessed your sovereignty, the sea splitting between Moses and Miriam. This is our God, they cried. Adonai will reign forever and ever. Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. And together we say in Hebrew at the bottom of the page, Baruch Adonai Ga'al Israel.
Israel.
Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom L'hamidenu Malkeinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom L'hamidenu Malkeinu l'chaim. Ufrosh Aleinu Sukkot Shomecha Ushmon Beteinu Uvoenu. Baruch Ata Adonai Apores Sukkot Shalom Alenu Val Kol Amo Yisrael Ve'al Yerushalayim. Ziona, would you like to read the English translation of this for us?
Yes.
Thank you.
Help us lie down in peace, Adonai, and we will arise with strength and clear vision. Shelter us under your wings, guide us with your wisdom, and for the sake of your world, help us work for peace through justice. Then hatred and plague and war and famine and sorrow will disappear from this earth. Blessed are you, our comfort and shield, whose Sukkot Shalom, shelter of peace, spreads over us, over all Israel, over Jerusalem, and the earth made whole.
Amen. We have reached the Chatzi Kaddish. Please sing along with me if you like. Yikadal v'yikadash Shemei Rabba B'yamad Divra Pirtei B'yamlik Malchutei V'chayechol Yomechon U'chayei Dechol Beit Yisrael Agala Ubizman Karim B'meru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mavorach Ve'olam Olam Me'al Maya Yitbarach Yitbarach V'yitroman V'yitnaseh V'yithadar V'yithalel Shemei Dekudsha V'yichu Leila Min Kol Birchata V'shvirata U'shbechata V'nechemata Damiran Amen. And we have reached Jerusalem, the standing prayer, the gates of our ancestors, where we commune with all of those who have come before us, who are here to guide us as we set on our own unique paths. Let the strength of this community and the strength of our ancestors give us the strength to search for our path back to the Blessed One. Adonai, Sefetai Tiftach, Ufi Yagita Hilatecha. Please rise in body or in spirit. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Ve'Elohei Avotenu Ve'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Leah Elohei Rachel Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Ve'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Ve'Konei Hakol V'Zochei Asei Avot V'Imachot V'Gilgal Livnei B'neihem למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומשיח ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם, בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, וחיי כל אתה, והושיע, מוריד הקהל. מחכל חיים בחסד, מחיי חום ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא עולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו בשני עפר. מי כמוך בגבורות, ומדום מלך, מלך ממי לחיי, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיים. ברוך אתה אדוני, לחיי המתים. Yay. Any volunteers for the English translation tonight? Let me look around. Yes, please, Sharon Jaffe. Welcome.
Your strength is forever, Adonai. You give life all things, you the great Savior. You rain dew upon us. You sustain life with kindness, with great compassion. You give life to all. You lift up the fallen. You heal the sick. You free the captives. You keep trust with those who sleep in the dirt. Who is like you, source of might? And who looks like you, the one who causes death and life and salvation to root? Who is like you, source of mercy and compassion? You brings life to everything. Blessed are you who brings life to everything.
Amen. Thank you. We continue with a silent prayer where we are invited to take a deep inhale and a deep exhale. And we let the words of our soul speak directly to Hashem in a way that is unique just to us. In whatever way you see fit, let the part of yourself most need of prayer with the fewest words, let that part speak now. Okay. We continue with Shalom Rav whenever you're ready. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon, lekol hashalom, vetov benecha, levarech et amcha Yisrael, v'kol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני, מברך את עמו ישראל בשלום. Now, I would like to invite Rabbi Sherry Joy Berman to read us a little bit of Torah, unofficially, of course, because we haven't officially opened any Torah now, and talk to us a little bit more about the Shema and what we can learn from it, how to interpret it through Gematria. Rabbi Sherry, are you ready? Rabbi, I think you're muted.
Sorry about that. Okay.
Welcome. Hi.
I accidentally pinned myself too. So last time we talked about the actual words from the first line from Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad, and the first part of the Shema appears in V'echanan, the parsha previously, and we get the second couple verses in Ekev, and Ekev is kind of personally a really very special parsha for me because it was my spouse's bat mitzvah parsha, and it was also the parsha that we recited on a Thursday morning by a Torah reading day when our Torah returned from being repaired. And in Kona we have I'm not in Kona right now, but Kona Beth Shalom is my kind of main congregation, and we have a Holocaust rescued Torah from Polna, and she had a lot of like kind of browned out letters. So she was taken to Florida for she likes warm climates. She went from Hawaii to Florida to be repaired, and when she came back, we wanted to do something to honor her. So we did a service in the morning the day after. There was a big party on Wednesday night. On Wednesday night, there were rabbis there from all the other islands, and they brought their Torot to welcome her. And the governor at the time was Jewish. Her name is Linda Lingle, and she came and spoke and said some very nice things. And the 613th commandment of the 613 mitzvot is to write a Torah. And our leader at the time, this was right before I was president, and I didn't realize when he was grooming me for president that I was also going to be leading services. So that's kind of how I got into this game. But he used to say, if you don't know the words, it doesn't matter. If you say amen, it's as if you said the whole thing. So my little joke when we all wrote in a Torah, and I wrote the same letter as Linda Lingle. I wrote a lamed. It's a letter that sticks up. And the rabbi said, it's about leadership. And my joke when we wrote in the Torah, I said, well, if we did the 613th mitzvah, is it as if we did all of them? And unfortunately, it doesn't work that way, but I thought it was a good idea. So when that next morning, we did, it was Akev, it was the same week that it is now, and we did different parts of the portion. And this is the one that I did, and I'm only going to do a line or two here because I don't remember it all, but I actually think I did two readings, and I did one in a kind of standard variation on what you always hear. And I did this one in a Sephardic tune. So this is Ki haaretz asher ata vashama l'rishta lo cheretz Mitzrayim hi asher yitzatem misham asher tizra etzacha v'hishkita v'raglecha kegen hayarek. So basically, this is about the land that you possess. And then 2 years later, something very unusual happened. It was President's Weekend, and we had a big gathering called the Shabbaton, and a very famous rabbi of blessed memory, Reb Zalman, came to the Shabbaton. And it was February, so we should have been somewhere in Exodus, but he chose to start with this reading, the one I had done for the return of our Torah. And it was because, I mean, he was this, he had all sorts of, he was originally a Lubavitcher rabbi and considered kind of a guru rabbi. He was going to visit Ram Dass after he left us, and he'd been with the Dalai Lama, so he could make his own rules and get his own Torah portion. But his reason for choosing this one was the idea of the land, because it's a very big value in Hawaii. Your local discount is called Kama Aina, child of the land. Aina means land. And so he wanted to talk about this, and he had this portion read. And then once again, so that was February of 2008. And then my spouse Alice had her, Leah had her bat mitzvah in August when this really came up. And I once again did this. Hopefully I knew all the words then. And it's so meaningful. And then last time, I'm sorry, Marvin's not with us. We were talking about gematria, and haaretz has the same a number of letters. It has the same numeric value, 296 of Ad. And Ad is the word that when you take those two big letters from Shema and Echad, and you put them together, that's the word you get. And it has this kind of meaning of since. It's some kind of a preposition. And what's really interesting to me is if we take one of those vavs from Yud-Heh Vav-Heh, Shema Yisrael Adonai, that Yud-Heh Vav-Heh, and we put that in between where it does appear in the Shema, we get the word od, and that's the word that means still. So when I was talking about the Shema, telling Yaakov, telling Jacob, Shema Yisrael, hear us, Jacob, we're still here. So I thought that there were so many interesting numerical coincidences. And the reason that we get this 296 is if we use that big letter quadrupling value. Okay. If we don't, if we just look at the word odd, I think we get 74, and that also means peace, which is very lovely. So some people do read that when you look at Shema, the Shema, and you see those two letters, there are all sorts of, you can look them up online. There are all sorts of people that talk about those two letters together. So that was something else I wanted to mention about the Shema. And I apologize. I know you guys could have had or maybe we still have time for the Jonathan Sachs point of view on this.
Thank you, Rabbi. That was amazing. I never thought about the connection between ad and od, and just the one vowel. It's really just a vav, just one difference. I love that. Thank you for that. We have some time. Let's go and look at, because this really goes along with what you were saying. Rabbi Sachs wrote a beautiful thing about listening. To lead is to listen. And let's open that link now. Let me stop the share and start it again where it was. Okay, here we go. All right. If only you would listen to these laws. This is in Deuteronomy, which is in this parsha. These words, which with our parsha begins, contain a verb that is a fundamental motif on the book of Devarim. The verb is Shema. It occurred in last week's parsha in the most famous line of the whole of Judaism, Shema Yisrael. It occurs later in this week's parsha in the second paragraph of the Shema. It shall be if you surely listen, Shema'u tishme'u. In fact, this verb appears no less than 92 times in Devarim as a whole. We often miss the significance of this word because of what I call the fallacy of translatability. The assumption that one language is fully translatable into another. We hear a word translated from one language to another and assume it means the same in both, but it often doesn't. Languages are only partially translatable into one another. The key terms of one civilization are often not fully reproducible in another. The Greek word megalopsychosis, for example, Aristotle's great-souled man, is one who is great and knows he is, and carries himself with aristocratic pride, is untranslatable into a moral system like Judaism, in which humility is a virtue. The English word tact has no precise equivalent in Hebrew, as we all know, and so on. This is particularly so in the case of Hebrew with the verb shema. Listen, for example, to the various ways the opening words of this week's parsha have been translated into English. If you hearken to these precepts, if you completely obey these laws, if you pay attention to these laws, if you heed these ordinances, because ye hear these judgments. Those are all different ways which people have translated the same verb, shema. There is no single word in English that means to hear, to listen, to heed, to pay attention to, and to obey. The Shema also means to understand, as in the story of the Tower of Babel, when God says, come, let us go down and confuse their language so that they will not understand, yishmeu, each other. As I have argued elsewhere, Rabbi Sachs has argued elsewhere, one of the most striking facts about the Torah is that although it contains 613 commandments, it does not contain a word that means to obey. When such a word was needed in modern Hebrew, the verb litzayet was borrowed from Aramaic. The verb used by the Torah in the place of to obey is shema. This has the highest possible significance. It means that blind obedience is not a virtue in Judaism. God wants us to understand the laws he has commanded us. He wants us to reflect on why this law, not that law. He wants us to listen, to reflect, to seek to understand, to internalize and to respond. He wants us to become a listening people. Ancient Greece was a visual culture, a culture of art, architecture, theater, and spectacle. For the Greeks generally, and Plato specifically, knowing was a form of seeing. Judaism, as Freud pointed out in Moses and Monotheism, is a non-visual culture. We worship a God who cannot be seen, and making sacred images, icons, is absolutely forbidden. In Judaism, we do not see God, we hear God. Knowing is a form of listening. Ironically, Freud himself, deeply ambivalent though he was about Judaism, invented the listening cure in psychoanalysis, listening as therapy. It follows that in Judaism, listening is a deeply spiritual act. To listen to God is to be open to God. That is what Moses is saying throughout Devarim. If only you would listen. So it is with leadership, indeed with all forms of interpersonal relationship. Often the greatest gift we can give someone is to listen to them. Viktor Frankl, who survived Auschwitz and went on to create a new form of psychotherapy based on man's search for meaning, once told the story of a patient of his who phoned him in the middle of the night to tell him calmly that she was about to commit suicide. He kept her on the phone for 2 hours, giving her every conceivable reason to live. Eventually, she said that she had changed her mind and would not end her life. When he next saw the woman, he asked her which of his many reasons had persuaded her to change her mind. None, she replied. Why then did you not decide to commit suicide? She replied that the fact that someone was prepared to listen to her for 2 hours in the middle of the night convinced her that life was worth living after all. As chief rabbi, Rabbi Sachs was involved in resolving a number of highly intractable aguna cases, situations in which a husband was unwilling to give his wife a get so that she could remarry. We resolved all these cases not by legal devices, but by the simple act of listening, deep listening. In which we were able to convince both sides that we had heard their pain and their sense of injustice. This took many hours of total concentration and a principled absence of judgment and direction. Eventually, our listening absorbed the acrimony, and the two sides were able to resolve their differences together. Listening is intensely therapeutic. Before he became chief rabbi, he was head of the rabbinical training seminary, Jews College. There, in the 1980s, he ran one of the most advanced practical rabbinics programs ever devised and included a 3-year program in counseling. The professionals they recruited to run the course told them that they had one precondition. We had to agree to take all the participants away to an enclosed location for 2 days. Only those that were willing to do this would be admitted to the course. We did not know in advance what the counselors were planning to do, but we soon discovered. They planned to teach the rabbis the method pioneered by Carl Rogers known as non-directive or person-centered therapy, which involves listening and reflective questioning, but not guidance on the part of the therapist. And as the nature of the method became clear, the rabbis began to object. It seemed to oppose everything they stood for. To be a rabbi is to teach, to direct, to tell people what to do, they thought. The tension between the counselors and the rabbis grew almost to the point of crisis, so much so that they had to stop the course for almost an hour while they sought some kind of reconciling about what the counselors were doing with what the Torah seemed to be saying. That is when they began to reflect for the first time as a group on the spiritual dimension of listening, Shema Yisrael. The deep truth behind person-centered therapy is that listening is the key virtue of all religious life. That is what Moses was saying throughout Devarim. If we want God to listen to us, we have to be prepared to listen to him. And if we should learn to listen to him, then we eventually learn to listen to our fellow humans, the silent cry of the lonely, the poor, the weak, the vulnerable, the people in existential pain. When God appeared to King Solomon in a dream and asked him what he would like to be given, Solomon replied, Lev Shome'ah, literally, a listening heart, to judge the people with. The choice of words is significant. Solomon's wisdom lay, at least in part, in his ability to hear, to listen to the emotion behind the words, and to sense what was being left unsaid, as well as what was being said. It is common to find leaders who speak, but very rare to find leaders who listen. But listening often makes the difference. Listening matters in a moral environment as insistent on human dignity as Judaism. The very act of listening is a form of respect. To illustrate this, I would like to share a story with you. The royal family in Britain is known for always arriving on time and departing on time. He will never forget the occasion. This is Rabbi Sachs speaking. I will never forget the occasion. Her aides told me that they never witnessed it before, when the Queen stayed 2 hours longer than her scheduled departure time. The day was the 27th of January, 2005, the occasion, the 60th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. The Queen had invited survivors to a reception at St. James Palace. Each had a story to tell, and the Queen took the time to listen to every one of them. One after another came up and said, 60 years ago, I did not know whether tomorrow I would be alive. Here I am, talking to the Queen. That act of listening was one of the most royal acts of graciousness I have ever witnessed. Listening is a profound affirmation of the humanity of the other. In an encounter at the burning bush, when God summoned Moses to be a leader, Moses replied, I am not a man of words, not yesterday, not the day before, not from the first time you spoke to your servant. I am slow of speech and tongue. Why would God choose a man who found it difficult to speak to lead the Jewish people? Perhaps because one who cannot speak learns how to listen. A leader is one who knows how to listen to the unspoken cry of others and to the still small voice of God. Nice words, no? That was
meaningful.
Amazing.
That last line really put it together. Really.
Just
wow.
What are your thoughts? I want to hear what you guys think.
It was really that last line really made, like, put it all together. Why Hashem chose Moses. If you listen, and the fact of listening, yes, it makes such a difference when people listen.
Yes, absolutely, Ellen. Anyone else like to share their thoughts? Okay. Rabbi Sherry.
So a week from next week, we're going to be in Re, and that's one of the few times where we're looking rather than listening. So many times we're told to look, and to listen. And I had a bar mitzvah boy that did Re and talked about the unusual listening. And the story I told earlier about writing in the Torah, the first word we wrote was lirot, which means to see.
How ironic is that?
And it was about, and I actually just by my foster son had to be in school early, and we had a special writing time, so I wrote the first word, and it was about the seeing was about never again, that we should never see anything like Auschwitz. It was from Noach and the story of letting the bird not coming back.
Wow, that's very powerful. Beautiful. Ellen Friedman, would you like to share some of your thoughts on this? Uh-oh. Looks like you're gone for a second. Oh, there you are. No? Oh, there you are.
Okay. I love it because I love the fact that Moses was a stutterer and I'm a speech pathologist. And that's just a real beautiful thing for me, because speech impaired people have a lot to say, and they are good listeners. And by force, they're good listeners because they're hesitant to speak. And I think Moses was a wonderful leader. And even though he had stuttering problems or problems with non-fluency, I wish I could have helped him. Maybe my soul was trying to.
Well, maybe God was the very first speech pathologist, if you think about it. Because eventually Moses got up to the palace and communicated exactly what he needed to say to the Pharaoh. So
right. It's always very touching to me when we talk about speech and the word and how important it is and how important listening is. I believe somebody in the chat said they were also a speech pathologist. I missed it though.
Yes, Sharon Jaffe wrote in the chat, Ellen, I am also a speech pathologist. I feel that our president, who stutters, is also a good listener. Many people don't know this, but Joe Biden overcame a childhood intense stutter, and he had a great speech pathologist who helped him learn how to become a politician. And now it's a great story of triumph, and a lot of people don't know it.
Yeah, stuttering is one of my areas of practice. So I'm amazed by the whole thing. And yes, Joe Biden is a stutterer, and he does an outstanding job.
It's very impressive.
He's a good listener. Yes.
Okay, well, now that we have done 2 Devars on 1 Parsha, we can continue with our Weeknight Maariv. Let me continue here. All right. The Kaddish Shalom. Yikra v'yikra shemera ba b'yalma divrach yurte v'yamlich malchute v'chayechonu v'yamechonu v'chayedechol Beit Yisrael ba'angala v'zman kariv v'yimeru. Amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach le'olam ulmei maya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalei v'yitalal shmei kudsha b'richu. Leila minkol birchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechemata damiran b'alma v'yimeru. Amen. Tika v'asatina v'oventem v'cham tedechol v'yisiyot ha'kadam s'lilu v'shmei v'yimeru. Amen. Mishamayim v'chaim aleinu v'kol Yisrael v'yimeru. Amen. Osei shalom imomav hu yasei shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru. Amen. Now we have come to our Misha Berach. On behalf of the sick, we would like to send our healing energy to all those who need. If you are on Facebook or YouTube, please write their names in the chat or on the Zoom chat, and I will read them. First, I will go through one by one of everyone here on the Zoom and ask for any names you have of people you'd like to send healing energy to, starting with Ellen Rose.
Thank you. All those who are suffering physically and emotionally all around the world. Lenny bin Alexandra, Ziona and her husband and her mom, Ellen Friedman, Marvin, Tova, Beth, Bill bin and Perry bin Betty. Toda rabah.
Toda. Thank you, Ellen. Rabbi Sherry.
Ali Alea Batsaimin.
Toda. Granny Franny, do you have anyone you'd like to send healing to? None. No names tonight? Okay. Sharon Jaffe, do you have any names tonight?
Yes, Ephraim Ben Usher, Georgette, Daniel, Stephen, Ronnie, Beverly, Carrie, Eric, Gabe, Ellen Friedman, Ellen Rose, Marvin, Amy, all those who need healing of any type. Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Ellen Friedman.
Timothy Paul Taylor, Diane Fishman, and the entire Sim Shalom family, and everybody who is suffering emotionally and physically.
Thank you, Ellen. Ziona.
Thomas, David, Ben, Catherine, Chava Bat Elsa, Pearl Bat Ethel. I will echo what Ellen said. All in our congregation who need healing prayers. Survivors of violence, those with COVID, and survivors of natural disasters, and the people of Ukraine. Thank you.
All that healing. Thank you, Ziona. Reba, do you have any names for tonight?
No names, thanks.
Okay. Let me check on the list here. Sapor would like to think of her friend David, who has cancer, and as well as all suffering with PTSD. And I will go to on Facebook, we have the live chat. I don't see names here. And on YouTube, I don't see the names here. So if you hear, I'm sorry?
They said we could say Mr. Barra for my
Hey! Hi, Marvin. How are you? Misha Berach. Who do you want to say Misha Berach for, Marvin?
My computer.
Your computer. Well, I don't know if that counts, but I'm sure I'll say one for you for suffering from poor computer presence at the moment.
That's where I've been.
Okay. We're very happy you're with us, Marvin. Thank you for coming. All right. We can say together the Hebrew at the bottom of the white page right here. Baruch atah Adonai Rofei HaCholim. Blessed are you, Adonai, who heals the sick. Mishe May the source of strength who bless the one before us help us find the courage
to make our lives a
blessing
blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishabela imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Sending all that healing energy out to all of the names mentioned and felt in our hearts, all of that healing energy to those who need it.
Thank you.
We continue with the Aleinu. Please rise in body or in spirit if it is your custom. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon ha'ol, yula liyoter b'lishit, shelo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, וגורלנו ככל עמונה, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני מלך הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. Now we remember those who are no longer with us in body. I will go around for the names as I did before to honor all those we remember. Those who are celebrating a yahrzeit or in mourning, please speak first. If you'd like to lead the mourner's Kaddish, if you're actively mourning, this is you may volunteer to do that if you like. First, for names, I would like to start at the beginning of my Zoom list with Ellen Rose.
All those who have no one to say Kaddish for them. Julius Ben Nora.
Thank you, Ellen. Rabbi Sherry.
Avraham Shmuel Ben Etta V'itzach Yitzchak Halevi and Jerry Block.
Thank you, Rabbi. Sharon Jaffe. I'm sorry, Sharon, I can't see if you're muted, if you're not aware you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Yes, David Reyna and all those who have no one to say Kaddish for them.
Thank you. We remember all of those people, all of those with no Kaddish. Thank you for reminding us. Ellen Friedman.
Yes. Laura Frick, Alan Brown, Helene Goldenberg, Henry Friedman, and Rose Tenenbaum.
Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you.
Marvin Gruber.
Francis Johnson.
Thank you, Marvin. Granny Franny, are you remembering anyone this evening? Okay. Ziona.
those lost to violence and those who perished from COVID and natural disasters.
Thank you, Zion. Reba, do you have anyone for the Morning Scottish tonight?
No names, thanks.
Okay. And let me look over here on the socials. We got no names on the YouTube and no names on the Facebook. So I think.
May I lead it, Rabbi?
Yes, absolutely, Rabbi Sherry. Let me continue. All right. Please join with Rabbi Sherry.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, bi'alma divar kirotei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachonu v'yomechonu v'chayek b'kol Beit Yisrael, ha'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lo me'omaya, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו ואלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה ואמירן בעלמה ואמרה אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. ועושה שלום במרומה ויעשה שלום.
All souls are with you, O Sovereign. Teach us to live wisely and unselfishly, courageously and fruitfully, in truth and understanding, in love and peace, so that our remembrance of them will be more than mere moments of regret, but rather a catalyst for inspired living. May the names of those whose memories we cherish be for us a blessing, and may we be worthy, so that those who come after may likewise remember us for good, as we remember those who have come before us and were unto us a blessing. And let us say,
Amen.
Amen. We have reached the end of our service. Erev Tov, everybody. Thank you to Rabbi Sherry for joining us and for your interesting take on the gematria, on the continued gematria of the Shema. It seems like it's never ending. It's like one of those holes you could just keep digging and more and more and more will come.
Yes.
So thank you for taking us further down a very Jewish rabbit hole.
Rabbi.
Shavua Tov, everyone. Marvin, you're here. I'm so happy. Everybody, Marvin Gruber is here. Hi, Marvin.
Yes.
Oh.
Yay, Marvin.
Happy to see you.
I missed the interesting part. I'll have to listen in.
Yeah, it's a recordings on YouTube for whenever you want it. It's somewhere in the middle, right? It's right after the Amidah.
Okay, I'll get something to eat and then I'll listen.
Okay, great. Well, I hope to see you all tomorrow evening, or Friday evening. Tomorrow, Rabbi Galit will be leading her service, and then Friday, Rabbi Blaine will be leading his. And I hope to see you all there.
Okay.
Be well, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Computer.